These are the 5 worst things I've ever brought into this gym, and making it onto this list is a pretty big accomplishment because I've made a career out of buying stupid stuff to review for this channel. Seriously, when you think about what didn't make the list, like a leg press hack squat with non-working safeties or brand new rusty barbells, then what made it into the video must be really bad, right? Yes, I spent almost $400 on this mug purely for a YouTube thumbnail. And the crazy part is, I kinda wish I'd spent another $150 or so on the anvil top, because I have never wanted something this unnecessary more in my life, making it the most American purchase I've ever made. To be clear, this might be an awesome purchase for someone else. I mean, they only made 400 of these and they sold out very quickly, but it's probably the only thing on this list I think you could argue that for, because we've got some really bad equipment coming up. And is this really a waste if I get tens of thousands of views on this? Please watch this on repeat. Seriously though, if you want to support the channel, you can subscribe or use our affiliate links in the description, as that's how we fund a lot of our content. Now, is any piece of equipment a bad purchase if you can work your arms with it? Sure, it doesn't fit in my drink spotter and there's nothing original about it. I'm not sure how many companies have jumped on this bandwagon, but you can actually drink out of it since it holds 22 ounces. That is, as long as you don't care much about your teeth. This started as a 46-pound chunk of stainless steel that they machined down. Then Rogue adds the stainless steel knurled handle, Cerakotes the logo and branding, and when you think about the time and material that went into this, it's really not that hard to see why they're so expensive. Now, is it a waste? That depends. I couldn't care less how people spend their money as long as they're happier and healthier from it, but to me, I'm never going to use it. It's just going to gather dust on a shelf and live its life as an item in the background of my videos. And if you don't use it, it is probably a bad purchase. But these next ones are indisputably bad, and this video culminates with equipment that's so awful we refuse to review it after getting it in. And there's even a few we've taken the videos down after reviewing them because of what we found out afterwards. Number 2 begins the list of items I've successfully canceled. Almost. Because while you can no longer buy the BalanceFrom Power Rack, when you're buying things off Amazon, Walmart, or places like that, they can always change the listing, rebrand it, or subtly tweak the design. But a bad design needs a lot more than subtle tweaks, and this thing had a lot wrong with it. We'll get to them lying on their listings and other issues, but let's start with the easiest thing you can look out for when shopping for a bargain rack, because there's dozens of cheap imported racks out there that have this same problem. The rear cross member essentially rendered the back uprights useless because it pushed you or your bench too far forward. And the more we tried on this thing, the worse it got. Sure, with some exercises you could turn around and face the other way, but with others there was no physical way to do them. And since the rack had weird hole sizes and measurements, you couldn't use attachments from other racks on it, so you were stuck with what they were selling. But don't worry, the ones they were selling were really well done. And you don't buy a full cage to be forced to work outside of it, right? Even better, since they didn't make spotter arms, you literally could not do certain exercises with this rack. Now, a fun story about the rack is it was so bad I tried to recycle it because there was no way I could sell it to someone in good conscience or return it to the company and have them resell it, but the guys at the dump would not let me recycle it. I actually took this thumbnail and then had to pull the rack back out of the dumpster. So I took it back home and dropped over 800 pounds on it because that's what you voted for us to do with it. And I needed to make more of that lucrative YouTube ad revenue to pay off my debts from buying it. But a poorly placed cross member didn't warrant all that, right? No, but that was just the beginning. They lied about its specs and misrepresented the rack. And no, I don't mean their sick Photoshop skills, because that's exactly the rack someone with commercial grade gym equipment would purchase. I mean the fact that in multiple places on their listings, they say it's an 11 gauge steel rack, but it was maybe 16 at best, meaning they're essentially saying it's the same as racks like Rep's PR5000 or Rogue's Monster Rack, and it is nowhere close. I could go on, but with much better budget alternatives out there like Titan's T2 or the Fitness Reality 810 XLT, which we've reviewed both of, there's no real reason to buy a rack like it. Not that I'm even sure you can buy it anymore, but that was the hardest part about making this video. I'd have items that really deserve to be put in here that I've been pretty harsh on in the past, and I'd go and check and the company had discontinued them or gone out of business, which I take all undeserved credit for. But you can still purchase some of them. Number 3 is another great example of me taking credit for something I probably had nothing to do with, and that's tanking the price of the Yahitech barbell. Because whereas everyone else has been raising their prices, good old Yahitech has dropped theirs. And let's give them credit for not just naming everything Ohio or Colorado or after whatever state the bar was designed in, because this name is much more helpful in describing the bar with their 7-foot Olympic bar barbell with 2 collars, solid iron weighted workout bar, chrome weight straight bar for home gym weightlifting and powerlifting strength training exercises. If that doesn't say it all, then what does? When we reviewed that bar a few years ago, it cost me $110 to my door, but now for $80 shipped, even an annoying, pretentious prick like me is having a hard time critiquing it. But I still will. It's just a little harder because they clearly saw that video and updated the listing. If you were to go back and watch that video, you'd notice a few things. One, I don't think we even filmed in HD back then, but at least my arm still looked good. 2, half that video is me picking on their awful listing. The bar was listed wrong a few times. It's 35-ish pounds, by the way. The weight capacity was different depending where you looked. They said the finish was silver, not bright chrome. The entire thing is a hilarious train wreck. And 3, I don't know if I behave better now, but wow, was I brutal in that one. So maybe I've changed and evolved, but that bar hasn't. You'll still get the same loose tolerances, a healthy dose of metal shavings, sick hex bolts you'll have to tighten all the time, and some of the most soul-draining sounds to ever grace your gym. So here's your volume warning. You're welcome for that, but at least it comes with 2 high-quality spring clips. Honestly though, at $80, it is hard to expect much, and it's not the worst thing out there. I'm just really mad that this guy stole my best workout outfit. But even at this price, I still don't recommend it because the weight capacity is very low, the knurling almost non-existent, and there's a lot more build quality issues than I've mentioned here. So I'd say just wait for a sale on either Titan's Performance Power Bar or Performance Olympic Bar, because while Titan can have its issues, they're angels compared to Yahitech. Though, if you want an in-depth breakdown on barbells, I check out our Barbells Buyer Guide, where I break down finishes, knurling, specs, types of bars, and literally anything you could ever want to know. Number 4 shows the importance of honest and thorough reviews, because they can save you a lot of money, but reviewers don't make any money by telling people what not to buy. I just wish there was a way we could help them out. Self-righteous comment, check. Number 4 is Titan's Pivoting Tricep Bar, an item so bad I've actually canceled it. You can no longer buy it. I'm gonna miss the boost in views I used to get every time Titan would put it on sale, trying to unload it. As we've already seen, it's not the only product I've killed in my YouTube career, though to be fair, others shared my thoughts on these, but you might be surprised how many people argued with me that Titan's bar was for tricep extensions, skull crushers, or that Titan messed up the listing and it's actually for seal rows, or whatever else you're trying to do when you brush the dust off at every 6 months and pretend to use it so you don't have to admit to your wife it was a bad purchase. The first step of healing is acceptance. We did waste our money and we're fools for buying one, but we can grow and learn from it by coming together. Also, I won. Titan admitted defeat and discontinued it. The main problem with this thing wasn't the fact that they copied the Watson lateral tricep bar, it's that they didn't copy it well. The biggest issue, and there's a lot of them, is that the handles aren't in line with the weight horns. So the balance is awful, and anytime you use it, you're just applying a ton of torque to your wrists. But if you want to see me at my best, or maybe my worst, you can check out our review after you finish this one, because that entire video is a great example of how much we don't cater to companies and affiliates. But I have to give Titan some kudos for still working with us after we've destroyed them in a couple of videos, because they've come a long way since then. Now, if this one is so bad they've discontinued it, imagine just how bad the next category is. Here's a bonus item because I suck at counting and couldn't get this list down to just 5 items. This one was so bad it never officially made it on the channel, though technically we did show it off on Patreon a while back. It's a functional trainer and bench that the shipping company must have left outside to rot for a long time because there was so much water in the crate and the mold was just insane. I could not get the smell out. I even assembled it and tried testing it, but I probably should have listened to my wife and never brought it inside the gym. Luckily, she won't watch this far into the video, so I'm safe saying that. To the company's credit, it actually worked well and they offered to send another one, but after dealing with that mess, I couldn't bring myself to build it again. Number 5.5 stems from a comment I made a while back about making a video on why we don't review certain things. And a lot of people wanted that video to get made, but haven't quite figured out an elegant way to do it. But here's a little insight into some of the stuff we deal with. I put my all into every video, and with all the research, testing, filming, and editing, they take over 40 hours each to create, which is impressive because it probably doesn't look like it. But when I go through all that and then decide to pull a video down, it sucks because all that is lost. But that's what I did with the Gemera Smart Home Gym, a combination of a tonal and a mirror. So why did I take it down? The company sent us an early prototype for free for the review, and they were very good at communicating while we tested it, and it actually worked pretty well, at least at first. After posting the review though, we ran into some issues, and I've sent dozens of DMs and emails trying to get some help to get our Gemera working again. In the end though, I didn't get any, and I ended up having to recycle the entire thing. Now, I think the company still exists. I see them post from time to time, but the craziest part is they're not the only company we've had to take videos down on. Maybe it's why I tend to avoid smart home gym tech, or I don't know, maybe it's a lesson in working with unproven companies or on prototypes, because those tend to be the toughest videos to make. I'm not sure, but I see companies disappear overnight all the time, and that's another factor in deciding what we review. But that's not half as bad as companies trying to control what we say or other games they play. I don't know, maybe I will make that video someday. But let me know, what's your worst home gym purchase? Do you have something that's collecting dust in the corner, something unsafe, completely unnecessary? Let us know in the comments. Thanks to our Patrons who help us to make videos like this that will never make money. Links in the description. Thanks for watching.